FYI for your information.
Welcome.
I am a direct alongside Sherry Duncan, and this morning we are with you Wednesday morning.
So happy to be back here.
Hump Day Wednesday, Wednesday 18th of May 2020.
Hump Day, I feel perky.
Yes. I see you guys out there already. I'll jump straight into the comment section. It has been quite a long day yesterday. After having the morning program yesterday, I went straight to the National Assembly.
Good for you.
So I was up at 4:30 a.m. yesterday morning, prepping to come to the show. When the show was over, I left to go to the National Assembly. And when I was done there, it was this morning after 12 o'clock.
Okay, you're back again.
After 12 o'clock.
That's boots on the ground. Wow. That's boots on the ground. I've never put. That's boots on the ground. She's a chipper. That's boots on the ground. Morris Alvina. Yeah, yes. Alan Finance. I see Alan Finance.
Yes, I see Alan Finance is joining via
Is it 07? Do you know the type of some of these things?
07. That's not the series. 07.
07. That's the
it's a code. It's a code.
Budget. From service. I don't know. You know how to decipher these things.
I just said, Peter this morning to you. Morning, Beatrice. Chippers. Hey, I see Ann Kearns here this morning, watching from Atlanta, Georgia.
Please and thank you. How's it there? How's the weather in Atlanta?
Sounds like Justin Sherrod, says Mr. John.
We're gonna fix that very quickly.
There's an echo or something.
Very quickly, we're gonna fix that. Yes. Atlanta is very, very nice. Atlanta is very beautiful. We're gonna get that stuff adjusted very, very quickly, and then you're gonna see me.
Well, I don't know how Atlanta is. So I think I need to get an invite.
It's a long time you get the invitation on Twitter.
I've actually
it's a long time.
I've never passed through there. I have to go. I have to avail myself to all of our FYI family members, wherever they are, to make sure that we can have some sort of one-on-one interaction at one point in time. We have been growing as a family, guys. It has been such an amazing journey thus far. I see all the comments. I see McDonald. I see Kendrick. Guys, I am looking in the comment section. You are all so wonderful. It's such a pleasure to be with you.
I gotta remember my mic is hot.
Yes, last night was. Night was.
How was it?
It was quite.
How's all you guys? Let us know.
It was quite exhausting. Quite an exhausting bit so far. Warren, I see you there.
How was Long Island? How was Long Island?
Warren, I see you. Like Gavin Liverpool, I says good morning to Rhett and Sherrod. It's beautiful day, sunny in Linden after 2 days of continued rain.
Wow,
so I understand, Gavin. Yes, yesterday was very rainy. I see Warren says the audio is great, so I guess that was adjusted quickly.
And if Warren says so, it is so.
If Warren says that, that's what it is. I see Beatrice Selby saying nice weather here. So Beatrice is having a good weather also. Loud and clear, says Gavin.
Great.
Whatever was being muffled is adjusted already.
It's a bird. It's a bird. It's a bird.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have a lot to every time I think about it, I think about all the pettiness that people try to bring to the forefront when there's something like that.
Yeah.
As a startling example.
Yeah. A monstrosity
of their governance.
Like that.
Yeah, but quite interesting, Mr. Duncan. I can say that you are sorely missed in the National Assembly. It is something that everybody has been talking about, you know.
I heard even the Prime Minister.
Yes, my goodness.
Yeah, he misses me so much. He watches the program.
Guys, Mark Phillips yesterday in his presentation could not help but speak about In the Ring. You know, he couldn't help himself. You know, In the Ring is first and foremost on the top of his mind. He's right there.
Yeah, somebody send the clip to me. We're gonna show it later on in the evening. He said that he watches me and Al Jazeera while he's going through his papers, his
Times
document. Interesting.
His Times newspaper.
His Times newspaper, you know. When the Prime Minister of a whole country, you know, chosen to watch you. It's something.
Yeah.
but that's testament to the hard work the guys are doing behind the scenes with the program, the content we put together as a team, and you know the work we will continue to do.
You're on par with Al Jazeera there.
Who knew? Who knew?
Oh goodness,
What do you?
it is what it is.
We out here, we out here, we outside people, we
So
outside.
much, so much, you know.
Yeah.
But quite an interesting day yesterday, and we're gonna be bringing as the program go on bits and pieces of what transpired
Mhm.
there in terms of bringing the information, and more so breaking it. A lot of times, a lot of things get
Mhm.
slipped through the cracks because of the chaos that is in the National Assembly,
Yeah.
as opposed to the structure that one would expect to see there.
Jury's stick keeps getting better and better.
I don't know. I think
Like
it's
right
profession-
there.
There is this thing that when
Right?
you consistently do something, you
get-
improve.
yeah.
You improve
You should
over
improve.
time. Yeah.
You should. Not everybody improves because
Oh,
this government's
true,
been at
true,
this
true,
18 months, and I ain't think.
I tweak it. I
No,
don't
no,
know.
no.
Sometimes if the
I
water's
see
a
why.
little too hot,
Mhm.
when you mix it with the milk, it's
Mhm.
not right. So you have to get this
The
nice
balance,
twist, yes.
the balance. You know, I can understand why John came one day and he hasn't got home since. One day coming, got home since then, right? But it's just to get it right. And you know, if you do it, like if you're putting, milk, you know, we use a lot of powder milk
Yeah, we do.
where we are here. But if you add powder milk,
Mhm.
like you add it to that coffee after you've mixed the coffee in the
Mhm.
water, right? It comes out a little lumpy. You got to know just
Yeah.
how to do it.
Yeah, you have
Just
to
so
have
you
a
mix.
good mix.
I find if you mix the milk first
Mhm.
and then you put the coffee, it comes out differently.
I think
I think yeah.
I think it has to do with the temperature of the water.
Yeah,
hold on.
it has that right balance to get it right. She's getting better,
Mhm.
you know, and even
I'm
for
preparing
using,
for the send off.
you're preparing for it. It's coming, it's coming. I think Warren will agree with me. It's coming. Yeah,
It's strange enough. I
You
can't.
know.
I'm here sitting studying if I ever made any coffee for Mr. John.
Uh-huh.
You know, yeah, I don't think so.
After the first cup, you know, it's spaghetti
I don't-
coffee.
No, I didn't think
Eh?
I ever made any.
Like I remember this
Yeah.
fella told me. He said you got a cologne. He has a cologne. When you use a cologne, you don't need words afterwards.
You don't need words. Oh wow.
Once you put on the fragrance, that's it.
Warren said
That-
home is where the heart is.
Aye,
You
that's
see?
it, Warren. That's it.
Warren knows this.
Right,
thing.
that's it, Warren.
This is big people
Yeah.
talk.
And when Warren talk, Warren, if it's the same Warren that I know, folks, you know, we fast bad, we mind all we viewers business. We mind y'all business more, y'all mind ours. Warren has been married for a long time.
Yes, that is
Right.
true.
Warren has been married for a long time. And so when Warren speaks, you know, us,
He knows.
us,
We
you
need
know,
to-
on
we
the
need
other
to
side of the fence.
Take a pattern.
Yeah, I take notes when Warren starts speaking, right? I take notes.
Yeah. How do you do it? You
Yeah,
know?
how do you do it?
What is the secret?
Right? Some people were made for each other, Twitter.
Yeah.
Some people,
But I think
know-
Warren would actually come back and say that it takes work.
yeah.
It
Some
takes
people,
that extra. It takes work.
some people were
Really.
made for each other. Some people can love one another for life.
Mm.
How about you and John?
Oh
You
wow.
know, that sounds like a song. So what is
I
that?
have been. I have been quite so. I have
Yeah.
been quite the quitter before. You know,
Mm.
prior that I would like
Yeah.
the slightest thing somebody just.
Mm.
I would just, you know, I'm done with
Mm.
this.
Yeah.
But
I,
over time, you mature
I'm a
and you
handful.
learn to deal with things a little
I'm
differently.
a handful, and I think my wife is not getting accustomed to me. So I feel like she's wearing out these days, right?
You have to take her out of
Yeah,
that
I try to.
environment. Yes.
I find she wearing out these days, but I give and take now. You know, I used to fight like over the pot spoon, and so on. But
Warren says 32 in a month. Is that 32 years? I'm not under.
yeah, is it Warren? Church?
Warren is that
Confirm
32
for us.
years?
Confirm for us. You know, we're interested in our viewers, much like you're interested in us, right? And Warren, I told you, Warren's been married for a long time. You can tell. You can tell.
What?
Right?
No, I have to see this. I
Right.
have to see that in that section.
Right? Agrimash, how long have you been married for? Sip, Martina. Agree.
I agree. Don't worry. Shots fired. Shots fired.
Mhm.
It's not nice.
Folks, share.
Marlon
share.
said I was married for 26 years before
Wow.
my husband died. So Marlon had a lengthy
Wow.
marriage as well. Wow.
26
Warren
years.
says years. 32 years. Of
32
marriage.
years. Congrats. Next month.
Listen,
Congrats, my Lord.
This is what I know.
Right.
I'm a little girl. and
Right?
this-
But I've
Warren has
been
been
married for
married
32.
my
hold on,
entire
no,
life.
I've been married 32 months. Oh, sorry there.
Warren
Your
has
whole
been married
life.
my whole
Wow.
life.
Congrats, Warren. You know, some men got the belly.
Wow.
Congrats, Warren.
Alan
Congrats,
Francis
Simone
has
as
been
well.
Married for 6 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Chanel Ross, 22 years.
22
Wow.
years.
Congrats, Alan. And I think I remember Alan's spouse.
Daisy.
Daisy. Congrats, Alan and Daisy.
Look,
6
Lincoln
years.
King is saying
Lincoln King,
years.
24 years.
So Magnell Barrow, I finished 39 years yesterday.
Sweet
so yes,
Lord.
years was
Lord
our
have his
anniversary.
mercies. Lord have his mercies. 39 years. Warren, we thought you were the top of the pack, but
Vesta
Magnell got it up against you.
Rajkumar.
20 years.
20
Congrats to Vesta and your spouse. Congrats.
I hope that
Right?
this is something that we should have asked before. These are
All right,
some
now look,
interesting numbers.
Leon, Goberdan can't put any years. He asked for SOPs. You see how this oh. Leon Goberdan can't put any years. Leon says, we are SOPs. Eh?
Chiselle Shepard says 8 years.
Wow.
Floyd Johnson 31
Wow.
years.
You Floyd, you coming up on Warren them, boy. You coming up on Warren them.
Agri says LOL.
Come on, Agri. Don't let me know. Represent, Agri. Represent. Pierre Zamat says 20 years before my wife gone to the angels. Oh, our condolences, Pierre.
Yes.
Yeah, 20 years.
Beatrice is saying the 16th of April made 43 years.
Oh, wow. Well,
now.
so much Warren and
Magnell.
Magnell, 43 years.
Beatrice.
Oh my, that's
wow,
something.
How does that happen?
I want to know myself. What's the
That
secret?
happen?
What's the secret, folks? A long good relationship.
Kwesi Caleb is saying 24 years.
Good job with that. Good
Wow.
job. Margaret, don't let me down. Margaret Nelson. Represent Margaret. Represent. Share the live. Congrats to Kwesi and spouse.
I'm going to challenge Edward from the Bronx to say how long, if married, how long. I see
Edward keyboard stick
Peters, Laverne Peters.
Yes, 33 years. Congrats with that.
Sherry Baskin Greenwich, 20 years.
My Lord, we rack up some years. I think we managed about 500 years in marriage.
Vesta is saying 29.
Ingrid Crawford, 44 years come December.
Oh my God.
Laverne Peters, did I get that? Laverne says 33 years. My Lord. We got mature people. This is it.
Margaret Nelson,
right?
42 years.
If I hear some people say,
I like this family.
Wow,
this
a mature
good.
family. But I take your notes now.
Me too.
42 years. I think the highest was 49. The 29th of February.
I'm going to start treating anything to do with relationship comments very seriously.
Yeah, because these people now saying, you ain't thinking nothing now. You ain't thinking nothing. Right? So, what's the secret? That's what we want. We have to write a book. We got to write a book here. Congrats, guys, you and your spouses, Let us know what made it work.
Wow.
I don't even know how we come to this discussion now. I'm trying to find my way back. But
I don't know, but I think this is very interesting.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that I think one of the takeaway I can get off of this right now is the fact that I see him Isola is in 46 years next February.
Congrats. Isola has been.
Yes, I think
46 years.
I think the takeaway that we probably can get from this is the fact that marriages seem to have worked. Like whatever was
for a lot of people,
whatever was a recipe prior was good ingredient.
Awesome.
And I think that while we always commend social media and those things and talk about the communication age, I think that there's some research out there, guys. Remind with me. GT Boys is 0 years.
Mm-hmm.
There's some research out there that actually says that actually puts the fact that the communication, marriage is all together. There's there's a little bit of a threat to relationships by the ease of accessibility to persons and the ease of access of influence into your private life at this time that you're in. So it's very difficult. So whilst we have information age being there's a lot of pros, then there's negatives that comes with it also. So we have to be very careful how we're doing.
When I was younger, I used to listen to a pastor, and he says that in his estimation that to make it work, to make a good marriage work, you have to figure out whether you want to make it work or you want to be right.
But I actually listened.
You want to be right or you want to make it work?
I actually listening to a lot of relationship advice, and it comes like one of them like was stuck out to me is that someone was saying that when you're getting married, you have to prepare your mind to forgive each other, because there will be disappointments. So you have to continuously forgive each other for things that may not be up to your standard, what
Yeah.
you would have preferred, and all of those things. So
Yeah.
I see all the comments of trusting each other, and so well, Warren says if it's friendship first, and I think a lot of times today we lack that. It's a lot more rushed as opposed to having that gracious time of developing all that. But I always tell people, I don't think there should be a big separation as to what you do with your friends as opposed to what you do with your spouse. Your friend is supposed to be in that similar category that you are relaxed and comfortable enough to hang out and have fun and things like that. So a lot I have.
Well, I can listen to them boys 49
Yes.
years and
I'm
I listen
telling
to y'all.
Yeah.
But guys, congrats to each and every one of you who've had a long marriage. It means that marriage is still working.
That's
Right.
what
Still
it
working.
says. I'm very happy to be associated with persons that have found this little trick.
And I have often,
Yeah.
I often, this is one of the things I always go after when I hear people have been married for a long time. How did you make it work? That's always fascinating to me.
Naomi said, Doretta never listened to relationship advice. There are a lot of variables for everyone.
Yeah.
That I can agree with
Don't we know
also,
that?
right?
Don't
But
we know
there
that?
are some best practices I think you could take from folks.
Yeah.
There are some best practices you can take from folks because there's a lot of overarching things, especially in relationships. Is overarching. It's everybody, men, women, so many similarities in all those things. But this, how you're brought up, I think, Christianity would say about being equally or unequally yoked, right? So all of those things, not necessarily meaning by faith alone, but in essence, your beliefs, your moral standard, and all of that.
Some people like
that
politics, some people don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I even look at somebody that doesn't like politics?
Yeah.
When that's I'm in the helm of it. We would have an argument every day.
You know who's married to? Mark Phillips is married.
Oh, okay.
I could imagine in the evenings, Mark got one TV home. Mark's wife is Mignon. Mignon wants to watch something on Netflix, and Mark was watching Rick. I mean, so many people say, 8 o'clock in the night, just broke up with marriage. I can't get my husband, I can't get my wife. You broke up a lot of marriages at 8 o'clock in the night. So that's not our intention.
That is not.
That's not intention.
That is not Shakira. That's not the intention.
At all. But that being said, we got kind of quite a couple of things on the morning papers we want to draw your attention to. We hope none of this broke up the marriage, but quite a couple of things. If anything, it says, you know what, we got to stick together because look at these times. Look at these times we live in. Times tight. Things tight. We gotta weather this storm. Doretta.
Okay, so the first thing I want to notice in the morning paper is the fact that the government tables industrial hemp bill. I have noted about the hemp bill, and I want to say at this point in time that I'm a little very much suspicious about the way in which it is being modeled, crafted at this particular time. This is my personal opinion. I just want to put that out there. Right now, this was tabled yesterday. We haven't had a chance to examine it in totality as yet. We will definitely be going through every line of that bill. But then my issue is the framework that is being utilized as is being displayed on the surface right now. Proposes regulatory authority, and then it goes to fine and jail terms for persons that may want to cultivate that are not authorized to cultivate. And we know the administration that we're dealing with. And when this administration speaks about regulatory authority, we know that if there's anything that they are known to do is to gut any aspect of transparency, good governance, accountability altogether. And whenever they talk about these bodies and authorities and so on, it's usually handpicked persons that they put to do their bidding. So I have to be going through the framework that is being designed. I'll do that as soon as I'm done with this program, because this is something that I'm most interested in, especially after the comments came from Irfan Ali that, the person that have been cultivating marijuana and so forth, they have the technical knowledge, and he would be meeting with them to see, and all of those loose comments. But when the rubber hits the road, then you hear about fine and jail term. So it begs the question as to what leverage will be given to anyone and where would be who and where the permissions will be directed to for persons to actually benefit financially from the cultivation of this. So I have a lot of issues at the surface, I'm going to say, because I'm going to dig into it a whole lot more to see what's the nitty-gritty of that as the day go on.
The only thing I would add here is that, we brought the marijuana legislation to the National Assembly. They didn't want us to steal any thunder, so they ran ahead with their own separate legislation.
It's stuck now.
It's stuck in a select committee. I would have loved to see the same kind of enthusiasm they put in the marijuana legislation, the ganja bill. We say freedom do it. That they put in here in that process.
Yeah, because listen, what's going to happen is if this goes forward, I want to be just very direct. There's a section of society, and you're going to see it. It's going to play out. You're going to do a map of it and to see where and how, because there's a section of society now that will be benefiting financially from cultivating this product, while that bill is still there in the select committee stuck there, and persons still be in jail for smoking marijuana. I want that to resonate very specific with personals, and the regulatory authority I have, as it is, absolutely no confidence of any semblance of balance and good governance and transparency altogether, because of the track record of the individuals that we are talking about.
Correct.
And I see Penelope, I know they're 43 years out there, so congrats to you.
Penelope, yes. 43 years married. Congrats, Penelope, and spouse. Penelope Howard. Mr. Howard, congrats.
Yeah, but this is something, guys, we have to be very circumspect. Sometimes we need to put on our analytical hat of every single thing that is brought before us. This is no joke. This is no joke. It is not okay for the marijuana bill to be stuck in a select committee when a new bill now is being tabled for marijuana cousin, as I would basically refer to him. And speaking about giving permissions for persons to actually cultivate and financially benefit when there's still jail time associated with persons smoking a joint. So I have serious issues with that altogether. And I think the divisiveness will be further magnified based on what I'm seeing on the surface. Again, I'm saying I'm going to be diving into the actual.
And I think this is also brewing on the morning brew. We got this too.
Yes.
What else we got on the morning papers?
I see two persons are actually pleaded guilty to the manslaughter in Perry Mars case. You will recall, guys, this is how many years ago? I can't recall, with Mr. Mars being murdered. Two pleaded guilty to the manslaughter in Perry Mars case. It has been years, and I think that we are as a community, we are still looking for some bit of closure to this matter altogether. So we definitely will be following up this as it continues to bring you more up-to-date information of it.
Another issue, seeing on your another issue. Thanks for asking. Another issue here is that the breakdown fire. Remember that infamous fire, the breakdown police station. The lighted the sponge in the wire. Lighted the sponge in the wire. That fire, we're being told, has amounted to some 104 million in losses. Some people are disputing this figure. They say, 104 million assets in the whole building. In the building, right? But they're still claiming 104 million in damages and losses
release
the
inventory.
According to Ropes and Ben. But we still love, I think, the formal report in that matter, because they had said the gentleman had confessed. Having a wire, light, and a sponge in the cell. And then the guy himself had said he never confessed to anything, and then his attorneys had said that. And initially, Ropes and Ben had said it was people from the US. But then they said this prisoner had confessed, and then the guy said he didn't actually confess. There's that. There's the fire that burned to the ground the building that houses the Office of Professional Responsibility. That is an arm of the police force. That same building also houses the DPP's office, the Director of Public Prosecution. That was raised to the ground a couple of weeks ago in Ivleary, in Kingston there. we learned recently that the report is actually finished, but somebody don't want the report to be released. Interestingly, yet again, Robson Bennett says people in the States, right?
PRS is everyone's strong
It's
game.
people in the States, and now it's a good time to release the report since it is finished to let us know exactly what transpired there. We don't know. And quite recently as well, you had that fire, Ivleary Central. Folks say that's the area where they keep the confiscated cocaine and hemp and marijuana and that kind of stuff. And we're going to wait for that report. Well, if the one from down the road taking so long, imagine how long this one will take before we know exactly why. But, it's strange. We live in a country where buildings burn like that, public property burn like that, and it doesn't seem in the public interest for us to know exactly what transpired there out of these reports.
Yeah, because there's no interest in transparency.
Yeah.
There's no interest in
regretfully.
Regretfully. Up to now, I think the question was asked by Mr. Kemraj Ramnatan when it comes to all the accusations of blatant fraud, that was being committed with the $10 billion that was intended as flood relief money for the farmers. And Mr. Ramnatan said publicly, release the names of the farmers that got the money. Clear your name since you're saying that it was
the names of the farmers and the amounts.
Release it, exactly.
And the amounts in the name of transparency, and as you said earlier, accountability, good governance.
Where is a website that persons could have gone and applied and seen who got through and who did not, and what amounts were allocated to them? They can't do that because they know it was done through a corrupt mechanism, and that's
very much so.
Do everything.
And I'm happy you mentioned that, because in our podcast day before yesterday, we have a podcast below the belt every day at 12 o'clock. We're on with our podcast. We were talking about 2 years of protests and 2 years of discontent, and we were replaying for folks some of the protests that have happened over the last 2 years, and we had people who submitted voice notes to our program in which and contributions to our program where they were saying they still got a pink slip in the hand.
That is correct.
They still got a pink slip.
In addition to that, now we see announcements made for a new set of money to be sent. This time they're saying they're aiming it at the Riverine and hinterland communities altogether. And I
And just yesterday, again on our podcast, people were saying, why not the whole country, since all of we suffering due to the high cost of living now?
But my thing is, with all of it, they have this thing that they do. And we had this issue when the coalition got into office. One of the things that was uncovered very early is the blatant corruption when it comes to money that is intended to go to the indigenous communities, and the way in which there were no accountabilities for those monies. That was a big issue altogether. So I don't buy it. I don't buy it when you're saying you're going to communities and just giving out these monies. If it was a different set of people, if they had a good track record, right? But you have no confidence based on their track record that they intend to do it differently. Don't come and say that, we're going to do it the right way. Just the way in which they've been doing it every single time they've been handling money to the indigenous community. It is always done through a corrupt way. It is always some feedback and lashback for some boys somewhere, and shortchanging the community of the actual value of the monies that are intended to go to those areas. And again, I say that I have no confidence in them to do it the right way now. So don't just come and parade yourself with the headlines that it's going to be for the Riverine and indigenous communities, because God knows, and when you go to those communities after the fact, you will hear how many persons did not get and how it was done in a discriminatory manner and all of those things, because that's the people that we're dealing with, and that's just a fact of the day.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know if it's directly related to what you have said, but I heard coming out, and we're going to talk about some of this later on, of the Public Accounts Committee. A lot of overpayment seem to have happened in some of these interior locations in the past under this current administration. Lots of overpayment on contract or advance payment, something to that nature. Which goes back to this whole issue of accountability and the track record on accountability and good governance and transparency as well. And so we have no real hope that anything different is going to obtain now. And again, some folks called us from Region 6, and they're very upset. And I thought initially this is what's going to happen. People can say, well, why they're different from us? I mean, this cost of living thing affecting everybody. But we were trying to show 2 nights ago on the affiliate program In the Ring why they might be going in this direction in the indigenous community, because there's a lot of dissension happening in this area. And if you're going to know, we're now walking up to local government election, which we got a good chance of doing, of getting some good results out of if we do some things right. And that's why they're trying to appease the indigenous community now, you know.
Yeah, because they believe that that method has been working for them for decades, and they believe that it's the same methodology that they can employ at this point in time. But I have to say that I don't think it is business as usual. I don't see that. That's not the type of dispensation we see
Different
right
age.
now. In the hinterland communities, persons know that they deserve more, and persons are fully aware of the corrupt mechanisms that are being employed in these processes, and because of that, persons know that they're being shortchanged, and nobody's okay with it altogether. But when it comes to the Public Accounts Committee, what I want to say about that is that I have noted, because this is my first time sitting, well, my first time in Parliament, but being on the Public Accounts Committee is very insightful. I can say that, if not anything else. And I've been doing my own bit of analysis when it comes to these things, especially when it comes to overpayment, because overpayment is something that we have been seeing a pattern for forever, right? As far back as you can go, all the public account, the Auditor General reports would speak about overpayments and all of those things, right? So it begs the question of why aren't there mechanisms that are being put in place to actually curb this issue altogether? It's not okay for you to just have sit-ins of the committee and just recommendations being pushed forward, and those things are not being implemented and instituted so as to fix the system altogether. And it's a sore issue, but I want to say that I will do my analysis to the end, and I will make it available to the public, and I will not bring any political language with it, but I will just present the cold hard data. This is what it is. These years, these are the numbers associated with it, and let the public do their own interpretation of those numbers. Because I think it's very important for us to understand the magnitude, how it is, the areas that it is collected in at the most, and all of those things. But again, I say when that is finished, I'll release those findings.
And we got some things trending we think you guys all know about. And as we get into this segment of our program, Deborah Clark and Leslyn Clark, is it Leslyn? Leslyn Charles and Maureen Carpins and Gwyneth Anderson, Paul Prasad. Share the broadcast. Smash that emoji button for us, guys. Do that for us as we head into some of the stuff that are happening internationally, Twitter. And we see here that Sweden and Finland have formally submitted NATO applications. I mean, this is going to drive Vladimir Putin insane, because, you know, he was fearful this was the way that the neighboring country of Ukraine was heading. And they seem to, I don't understand why self-determination upsetting somebody else across the border. I don't understand that. Talk to us about this, you know.
Well, I'm no. Well, actually, there's a lot more to that, and I know that our co-host man said this is our field altogether. But most definitely, we need to be interested in that specific piece of information, because if we would agree, the whole war between Russia and Ukraine, you know, was birthed out of similar issues when it comes to NATO and intentions of NATO applications and all of those matters. So we see Sweden and Finland has formally submitted their applications to join NATO, and the Alliance Secretary General Jen said it was a historic moment which we must seize, and that's quoted, adding that the Nordic countries' membership would increase shared security. But that is the way that's the way in which it is being reported from NATO. I just want to note that, because other reportings are going to suggest otherwise.
And I can't seem to remember very clearly if it was Sweden or Finland or both of them, but the US had guaranteed security for one of them if they had become a member of NATO. So things in that region getting very, very, very interesting.
Well, geopolitics, there is something that's not my area of expertise, but I can say on the surface, like like the majority of persons, the information that we gather from all of these reportings and so, which suggests that there's a lot more when it comes to global security altogether, and the way in which persons are aligning themselves.
And as we see on this side, more in the matter, more in the matter than on the pistol. Look what else is happening, Twitter. Tell us about this.
Okay, so I see this is very interesting. I want persons to actually note that we on FYI back in March would have, I believe it was on the program when this breaking news had come out, that there was a crash, a China Eastern flight that crashed, and that was back in March. Now, the report that is being circulated right now, I'm taking this off of CNN, it's saying that the black box data recovered from that flight suggests someone in the cockpit intentionally downed the plane.
Wow.
And folks, you would remember that was the Boeing 737-800, and that killed 132 passengers and crew on board.
Wow.
So with all of that, the data that is coming out right now is saying that that was an intentional action, that someone in the cockpit intentionally downed that plane. So all the questions, persons were thinking that, it was an accident and all of that, where 132 lives, passengers and crew altogether was lost. And now that is just as cruel and despicable as it can possibly
Very
get
interesting.
at this time.
Wow. Thoughts and prayers again to all those families who would have suffered there. Coming closer to home, but yet in the region, closer to home, guys, but yet in the region. I hope I have it right. Do we? Hope you have it right. Yep.
I see Alan Fernandez saying Turkey says they have to call the rebels in Turkey terrorists before they are allowed to join NATO. Like I said, more to the
more in the matter.
matter.
More in the matter. Thanks, Alan. Thank you. Yep.
Sharon's gonna take this one.
In the region, but yeah.
Passed to jail in the Turks and Caicos
for rape of some young girls,
some
of us, I'm on Thursday morning, I know some people having breakfast and so on, but while some of us got the flag flying high in overseas territory, in the diaspora and so on, some of us, not so much. And this is one of the things we're picking up. Look, we carry bad ways with us all over the place. But
I want to listen. I want to see this. My mother, I got this from my mother. I can put it out from the very start. And I adopt that same principle and thinking. A lot of times we go to, we hear churches, and I'm being specific with churches right now, that persons would say, you don't go if you have an issue with the conduct of a pastor, if you have an issue with the manner, the behavior pattern altogether, then there's a lot of persons that would tell you, when you're going to church, you're not going to look to the pastor, you're going to look to God, let the Bible be your guide, and all of those things. I say no. I got this from my mother, like I said, and I agree with her 100%. I say no. When someone is in that position of influence and authority, they take that position with the responsibility and knowledge of that responsibility that they are supposed to be doing the right thing. So don't tell me don't look to the pastor. If the pastor don't want to be in that role as a pastor with persons looking to him with that sense of leadership and that be in that figurehead that people can go and look up to, then don't take the seat. I know what, I'm not accepting any excuse that, the pastor is human. Nonsense. Right? Don't give me all of those line of excuses for me to just forget about the blatant wrongdoing that some of them do. I have issues with it. I have.
Well, there's a lot of stuff happening, and this is not only. It's not only in the, I think, the Pentecostal church or this kind of denominational thing, but I think right across the spectrum, whether you talk about Christianity on the whole, you talk about Hinduism,
we have endless situations that we have reported in which the priest was known to rape young girls and all of those things. No. We do not just cover it up. We do not just make it acceptable.
I think I heard somebody put it in this way, we live in an age where our heroes fail us. And you press to espouse certain values and so on. And then when people see some stuff happening. I mean, there's not only Turks and Caicos involved, Guyanese. Right home here, we saw videos splashed across social media with pastors and bishops and popes and all manner of things. And it gives people, when you hear people are reluctant to say, I ain't going to no masjid, I ain't going to no temple, I ain't going to no church, I don't have time with that. It's based on what they're seeing. One of my favorite churches, to watch online is Hillsong. And Hillsong went through, their own throes of lots of challenges, to put it simply, and lots of other places too. Is that kind of age we are living in, and stuff like this here don't help. It's right in Jamaica recently. We saw that pastor, that quote unquote cult, where people try to take their own lives and all kind of stuff, or they try to cut people's throat in that church, all kinds of foolishness, and it does not augur well to people who put their faith in a higher being, especially within these different religious contexts. At all.
But when you're in these positions, I say, when you are in these seats, this is not about you.
Rape on the whole is unacceptable.
Right.
On the whole. And then when you put it in this context where somebody's in a position of influence,
But
it makes it even worse.
My issue is that there are too many. I don't want to hear me out on this. There are these cases we are seeing here in the media. I'm glad that it is where it is somebody actually being prosecuted by the law for this. But I am saying that people have been covering up for many religious leaders when it comes to similar situations. Or because it's a pastor, you got to talk about forgiveness and the Bible and all of that. And all of that, no, I say no. That's not the way in which it should go, and it brings so many questions as to how we uphold certain characters.
Yeah, but I'm not in disagreement with you at all. I'm saying across the board, rape cannot be acceptable in no context.
In no context.
In no context.
But that's what I'm saying, because rape. Let me break it down a little bit more, and especially when it comes to statutory rape. And let me just start from that position. Statutory rape, grooming, it begins at that point and all of that. I am saying that there are too many situations that do not come to light, right? So a lot of times when people think about rape, they think about the brutal somebody, hold down somebody and all of that. And they don't think about the context of the way in which people in these positions of influence and authority manipulate, groom, and just set up young girls and boys too, and make sure that they get into their minds, and then there's a statutory rape situation that is being faced. There's some of them are worse and more beastly.
Some of them in government, you had one guy saying the other day at a forum that he was listening to some tape with me on it with quote unquote verbally assaulting some journalists, and I would say I've heard you in a lot of tapes too, right? In this context here, in this very context, we can talk about that. In this very, very context.
Yes.
Right. So agreed, unacceptable.
Unacceptable. And the situation here is it's underage girls.
Yeah.
Also, and I just want to make sure that we just point that out under the age of 15. And it says that, let me just give the first two lines. It says that pastor has been from Turkey Caicos was on Monday sentenced to 11 years in prison after he pleaded guilty to raping 2 girls under the age of 15 multiple times. And I think one of the girls was actually the age 13 years old. So this is what I'm talking about, utilizing your position of influence and all of those things. Sometimes it's statutory rape and all of those things, but we have to be very cognizant, be very watchful and all of that for these evil people masquerading themselves on the guise of religious leaders and all of that.
Correct. And we're home now. I think we're home now, and we're going to be talking some more on the big issue about Trinidad and Guyana and the Agri Expo and the other things that comes with that. But Conrad Enel, we're being made to understand, has been appointed as Trinidad's High Commissioner to Guyana. So we're looking forward to that. And for those persons who don't know, the High Commission for Trinidad, it's close to Vicinjon Road on Lamaha Street. Close to Vicinjon Road on Lamaha Street. That's where the High Commission is. Because I know sometimes people are always calling around asking, where's the High Commission for Trinidad? Where's it? And I saw it neatly tucked away there, close to Vicinjon Road on Lamaha Street. And Conrad Enel, Enel is the new High Commissioner there. And, we wish him well. Welcome to the rough and tumble of Guyanese society and Guyanese politics.
Yeah, well, I have to say welcome also. And certainly have your work cut out for you,
Yep.
but
Yep.
most definitely all trainees in Guyana. So we need to encourage them to go utilize that office space, make sure that they seek assistance when needed. You have the commissioner here, so make sure that he is
moving ahead
and all worked out.
Moving ahead, and this is what we were talking about early on. And you know, we've had this discussion that the government has tabled this hemp bill and all that comes with it. And let's see where it goes. Let's see where it goes. I think there was there agreement yesterday that it came up for the first reading.
Yes, the first reading. So that it's and listen, this specific bill, I'm putting it out there. I believe that this specific bill is not going to be going to any select committee. Let me just put that at the beginning. That I don't see this bill being sent to a select committee. I see the way in which they are dealing with it is that they are going to be pushing it forward, and they wanted to surpass that of the marijuana bill, because they were not going to table a bill when it comes to marijuana. They only did that so because you tabled one, so they wanted to overshadow that to come back and say, and then they're going to take it apart in the select committee. But I see the urgency of them coming with this. I see them making sure that it is on the top of the agenda when it comes to their interests. So I don't see this being sent to a select committee, even
Correct.
if the need is there.
Correct. And that being said, we see a condo bill as well was passed yesterday. You know, the condominium bill was passed yesterday in the National Assembly. You know.
Yeah, the condo bill was passed in the National Assembly for quite a hefty bill, and I think the speakers did put over their point quite clear. But again, and I want to say that we go to the National Assembly when we see something as being progressive, and so we have no issue in lending support. But there's always aspects of it that you have to critique. There's always
always get something in there, a little thing in there, a little thing, you know.
So the specific issue that I saw with that particular bill is the fact that that the direct control and the fact that those things have to be passed through the minister. Why is it always this political filter? Why can't it be left in the hands of the technical experts? Why is this political filter always necessary? Why is it a necessary component? Let me tell you something. If the PPP government was in opposition and that bill was presented as is, they would have paraded all over. But the minister want to do what they want. The minister wants all the control. You know, this cannot be accepted. But they believe because they're the ones sitting there, it's okay for them to come and do this in that manner. So that was clearly articulated yesterday. I think Miss Ferguson made her points very clearly on that specific bill, and I support those positions as well. That it's not everything that you see you have to put that political filter on. That's not progressive, I do see.
Yeah. Interesting. And folks, in our segment, what they said or what he or she said, something interesting. We see how we think you guys ought to know. We are at what they said this morning. That's the segment, what they said. And we're picking up some comments coming out from a letter writer in today's Starbuck News. Interesting comment, and it's right up to it is Ali, where the Public Accounts Committee, where it is a member, is concerned. And this is what I think Shamshun Mohammed had to say in Starbuck News just this morning, that officers appearing before the Public Accounts Committee are ill prepared. And I've witnessed some of these committee meetings virtually, and I tend to agree. And here is what Shamshun Mohammed says. He says, it is a matter of deep concern of folks, Asim Okro and Oswald Chance, candidly illegit. It's of deep concern that officials in positions and who assume office at the change of government went before the parliamentary oversight body on government spending are unable to answer questions and provide explanations and clarity to queries. Their standing response, it seems, is reposed in the position that they were not in the position or the officer in charge at the time of the questionable transaction. The letter writer concludes, this is ludicrous and flawed and cannot be allowed to be the acceptable norm of response from incumbents. Once the position has been offered and the appointment formalized, the responsibility to find out and to know all dimensions of previous transactions and which to account is an expectation becomes even more important and crucial. So you've been given a role, you got to study all aspects of the things that comes with that responsibility. That's the point that Shamsul Muhammad is making here, Tarita. Yep. Talk to us about that.
I can speak about this matter for hours. I think that he's correct when it comes to the fact that there's a lack of preparedness. But I think more so I have noted with great concern that there's a lack of respect for the process altogether that has been displayed. That was on full display. You know, the manner in which a lot of persons, and we noted very recently some engineers have for the committee, and that's why that particular engineer got into all of that trouble recently. So I want to say that I agree that there's a lack of preparedness, but I also want to add a component to that, a little bit of fact that I'm going to present, that there's no excuse to not be prepared. There's absolutely no excuse for those officers to not be prepared. Let me just explain this very briefly. The Auditor General report is something they're not seeing it for the first time when they come before the committee to answer these questions. They're not seeing these things for the first time. We are currently examining the 2017-2018 reports. Those reports have been available for years. And it's not an excuse for you to say, I haven't been there then. Because since you got there, the reports have been there. And you know that you're coming for a meeting. They get time in advance. They get a timely notification of the meeting that they have to attend. And in addition to that, the audit office holds meeting with them prior to them facing the Public Accounts Committee. And in those meetings, the audit office would clarify X, Y, Z and say, well, make sure that you walk with these documents. So the audit office also have been at pains pulling hair can't understand why they would have had a meeting with someone a few days before and they are still there without the documentation that they were told to bring. So I see it as more of a lack of interest and a lack of respect for the process altogether, because a lot of those, practically all of those PSs that are coming there, and those accounting officers altogether are accounting officers that were put there under the current administration. They select these people and said that they want them there. And I believe that somewhere along the line, it would appear that those persons are being advised to come and give a line of answers like, oh, I wasn't there, so I don't know, I didn't find it. You know, it is, and we have been pointing out, it is not okay for you to just come and say that, I didn't see this paper. Did you double check? You know, there are so many different check systems that you have to check off before you can arrive at the position of this document isn't available. Did you check? Did you check with the audit office? Yes, this thing was reported an investigation for something. Did you do a follow-up?
Yeah.
No. But you're there because you believe that is a smack on your hand like that and you be on with your business. And no, I say that is not acceptable, because, and the Public Accounts Committee, I must say this, when we are dealing with government money and the way in which it's been spent, we have to get to a point in which we structure the system in such a way that we're going to safeguard the country and the people.
Indeed.
And
it's
people's money.
People's money.
My goodness.
It's the people's money.
So that's where we are with that matter.
Yep. And the big issue for today, guys, it's this, what they're calling an Agri-Investment Forum and Expo. And the first of the leaders invited was the Trinidad Prime Minister, Keith Rowley. Interestingly, it seems as though Jagyo has gone into hiding. Seymour George and Pamela Dover, Deborah Clark, good to see you. And is it Bea Kim Sumner and Paula Dover? Gloria Chester from Diamond. Gloria, how are you doing? Good to see you. And Ali Majid. Ali Majid is here with us too. Good to have all of you guys. The big issue today is this Agri-Investment Expo, a Forum and Expo. And, Jagger seems to be missing. He don't miss these things. They don't miss a chance. Folks, you all know that. Don't miss a chance. Right? Don't miss a chance to show that he's large and in charge. You don't miss a chance.
I think they should have a joint press conference.
Wow.
I'm just throwing that out here.
Wow. And that would be interesting.
Joint press conference.
Paid per view. What's interesting here is yesterday's editorial of Sabbath News, 25 by 2025, was articulating that we've had lots of these kinds of expos and and forums where agri is concerned, and food security for the region. It's an important issue. and saying that, we lots of them in the past have failed. But if we're really serious, the success of it is not going to be determined the day after, right? It's not by the success of it is not determined by how many foreigners come, how many regional leaders or world leaders come, or what have you, whoever were the invitees. The success of it is when you go back to implement, the programs, implement the policies that you have reached, and that over time you can be able to look at it and say, this started in Georgetown in 2022, and look how far we've come. This started in Georgetown 2022. Look how far we've come. Over time, he said, Starbucks News editorial said we got a good opportunity, right? The success is not the day after. It's not Keith Rowley come and Mia come and you got great speeches and all that. It's over time when you look back and you see the difference that is being made towards regional food security. Then you'll be able to say, we did something.
The difference that will be made for local food security for starters. Because I always make the point that we in Guyana, there are too many situations in which our people are starving. So I say that anything that is going to benefit us these are things that I always support, anything that's beneficial to the people of this country, and I want to see where it goes and the policy measures that will be implemented to make sure that Guyanese are in the bracket of receiving the benefits from whatever mechanism that is set out as we move forward with this.
Yep. But the thing that looked like it was going to overshadow the forum and expo, if not yesterday, is the absence of the vice president, because at these forums, especially where you have bilateral meetings, and as the Prime Minister of Trinidad, Dr. Keith Rowley, stepped off of the aircraft, he was ferried to State House, and they begun bilateral meetings. He's always across the table. As a matter of fact, there was an empty seat next to between Irfan and I believe it was the installed Minister of Finance.
There was an empty seat?
There was an empty seat there.
I have to look back.
It was quite interesting. Like, somebody was notably absent there. So the big question coming out of yesterday, Sir Forbes Fraser knows this, and Blondes, Booker, and Barker, and all the other guys, Warnella Garnett, that it seems as though Mr. Jaggi went into hiding because he was the one who said Trinidad falling apart, and they had this tit for tat. And yesterday I was listening to a newscast coming out of 93.1. Gabriella Patram was delivering this news, and they dealt with the issue from. He says he was talking about Trinidad falling apart and the tit for tat, and foreign affairs minister, and all the back and forth in the TNT press and so forth. Gotcha. And you would think Jaggi might want to be out front and center and represent, but he seemed to have gone missing.
I wonder if Rowley walked with a guy that liked piano. That's you're talking, and that's what I'm thinking.
Yep.
I think that there was a particular member in Rowley's parliament that was very interested in Guyana. I was wondering if Rowley,
if he came, he probably came on the advanced team. The was a member of the opposition. He probably came in the advanced team. But that's what went down yesterday. We were walking through some of it last evening. But no doubt, like Sabak said, if we organize ourselves well, and we're going to be following, some of the outcomes of the forum and expo, the agriculture forum and expo.
I'm gonna go.
If the actually, and Sabak went to the point of saying, institutions will have to pick up the baton and run with it, or else all we're doing here is photo op. It's just hot air, it's just talk.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I like to speak to these people myself that are going to be involved there. I don't want to get second-hand information.
See, Pamela Dover said, talk.
Yeah. When I have an opportunity to go and get the information for myself, I am not going to miss that opportunity. I'm going to go and present myself and gather those info for myself.
Yeah. And Naomi Drucker says that Mia must tell them it didn't look good that Trinidad wasn't invited to the oil expo. Yeah.
I think you told
the energy expo.
I think you beat that drum fairly well.
Right. And I'm sure the Prime Minister was watching, which means the rest of them know.
Yeah. Come on. They have. I was made to understand that there's a little unit set up to monitor your programs.
Joel Ward's comment is interesting. Joel says they don't have the balls to face Rowley. They don't have the balls.
Joint press conference.
Right?
Joint press conference.
I agree with you, Joel. Joel, I agree with that. I agree with that. Maureen Coppin Williams says there needs to be exposure of the destruction of the farmlands in Linden. Is correct.
Yes.
Correct. If we're talking about agriculture.
Yeah.
Right? At the back of South Ramsey.
But now you have to see, I think everything that is done, we need to look at who benefits. I think that's always the question. Who is benefiting? And when we determine that, we will know that who these people are actually interested in together.
Correct.
Fanfare. I see the words. I see Pamela Dover saying this is a fanfare, but we have a lot to keep our
Agri-Marshall's
eyes on.
facts. And Joel says on the farmland issue, it's such a cruel act indeed, right? Suzette Washington says Papa had run-ins. The toilet called him, he couldn't face his superiors.
I think one of the, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to I'm back in my memory right now when it comes to those outreaches that were had. One of the outreaches, a farmer was there asking for an access road to be pushed into the farmlands. And I think the response that was given to that person is, where are we getting money from? Where are we going to get the money from? But I'm not referring to the case when the guy was talking about a consolidated fund. I'm referring to another situation. This is specific to SC Quibble. When that question was asked there, that was the response given to him. So there's very much of a distinction in where how you treat persons locally, as opposed to when you parade yourself as the experts in these areas.
Correct.
At a regional level.
Deborah is talking about destruction of the mangroves. Deborah says, we need to talk about that, destruction of the mangroves. When Anderson says he's still in the toilet, you're uneasy. Henry Rodney says he's still got runnings. That's the people. That's the people talking there. That's the people. Marlon Farmer says wicked, stink and dirty. Where have I heard that before? Where have I heard that?
I've heard it somewhere. Kind of.
Yeah. Sounds good that we might use it wrong here. Yep. Good to have had all of you guys with us this morning.
Lorraine Walcott says he will give the closing remarks. Mop up.
Yep. Gwyneth Anderson says this is a sick situation, and at the GPO and GPO Ghana, I think it's post office. Ghana Post Office, yeah. Lots of stuff happening. We often see it here. Show us a sector in this country that's doing something right. Show us an area in this country.
Marlon says it's 11 months since her mom died and she can't receive the death certificate as yet.
Yeah. That's a sore issue. Very much so a sore issue. And I think today's
when you remove experts
documents
and you implant political personnel, that's what we do. That's what we have. We have a system in which persons are running agencies, bodies altogether that hasn't the slightest clue as to how they should go about the business of the day. That's the fact.
That's the challenge we have. That's the challenge we have. Folks, we got hundreds of you watching us. We're so heartened by that you make this morning program your first stop in getting news and information. Folks like Indrani, Likram, and Leslie Simon, Liverpool, Marcia, it says Waits and Pamela Dover, all you fantastic, beautiful, uncontroversial, good-natured folks, same set, y'all.
You see, there's a lot of persons that's weighing into this when it comes to what's happening at GPO. Persons are talking about not being able to get birth certificate, not being able to get death certificate, and there's a lot being said that speaks volume for the manner in which some things are happening there right now.
Nothing irregular there. Nothing not regular, and we're going to continue to follow this. This is an issue we see all of the time. I've applied 2 years for my birth certificate. What's happening? I applied this amount of years. What's happening? And we're going to continue to follow this very issue here. And you said it's when you move the experts and you put in friends and family. Friends and family and favorites. That's what happens. That's what happens. Yep. Guys, hundreds of you watching us. Do take the liberty to share the live stream, smash that emoji button, and Drita is finding out every day. This program don't run on water. These programs every day, she engages the management of this, what we do. We don't run on water. That's why we encourage you guys to partner with us. It goes a far way, and every cent you guys give to us, it's used to perpetuate these programs, to proliferate these programs, and it takes something, folks. You'd be quite surprised to keep the lights on, to keep the doors open. As a matter of fact, we've got some specific equipment that we need to acquire to do what we do in an even better way, guys. And I really want you guys to, over the next few months, to help us along, right? So whatever you send us will be able to help us to go in that direction, and also keep the doors open, keep the lights on. And we don't say it, we say it in a braggadocious way, but we got Zelle, PayPal, Cash App, MMG. We're available via MoneyGram and Western Union as well. you need any guidance, 21st century, of course, you can message us on WhatsApp, 627-6963. Incidentally, that's our MMG number as well, 627-6963. We'll be happy to give you guys guidance. And, lots of folks have tuned in to our programs, and we want to keep them going. But again, it takes something out of us. There's some new equipment that we need to get. And we want you guys to help us to do this, to move in this direction, to broaden what we're doing here, and to just keep things going. Help us. 627-6963 is the number.
Right. That is correct, guys. So we're so happy that you join us every single day, like Charity is saying, and we are so thankful for all the support that you give for the persons that always come through for us, share, contribute in every way that you do. I see Diane Gorzandi, Deborah, I see you saying, Deborah saying, be blessed. And I see Claudette Bovell Lewis is here with us this morning. So you making styles on me. I still here for you. I don't know, Sure, that's for you.
Perhaps, I don't know. Claudette, no. We will never make styles of people at all. We never make styles, right? Never make styles. Folks, share the broadcast, share our morning program, FYI. Share.
Yeah, that's it. Just what Sharon said. Just like that. That is what he says. I'll be going back to the comment section a little later to see if I missed any important questions.
Vanessa Taylor, Gwyneth Anderson, Eileen Kelman, Loretta Argyle, Sharika, Candace. Good to see Candace, Rolandre Hamilton, all you folks. Beatrice Selby, of course. Take care. Have a great day. We can see you guys back at 12 for the podcast.
Have a great day, guys.
Yeah. That's it. That's our time.